Welcome to 2 Cents We See Scary Movies, the podcast where we dive into horror films one theme at a time. Each month we pick a theme, and every movie we review fits within that theme. Sometimes perfectly, and sometimes, well, we do our best. I'm Talon, the one who would survive an escape room just by refusing to go in the first place, and mocking everyone else for falling for it. And my co-host is Dan, who would make it out alive too, not because he's clever, but because he has a firm policy against group activities and human connection.
That's not a lie.
I try to tailor them as much as I can. This week, we're diving into No Escape, also known as Follow Me, a social media horror story that asks the question, what happens when your content is killer? Literally. All right, Dan, this is yours. You take it away.
All right, so I don't know why they have a different name in the European crowd, but Follow Me is the European title and No Escape is the American title, and you can find it on Amazon.
Right.
Amazon Prime, to be expected.
It took me a minute to find it because they had so many No Escapes and so many Follow Me's. And then when I found the right one, I feel like when I found it under Follow Me, but then when I opened it up, it was No Escape. I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's a weird one. Yeah. The best way to find it is there's a girl like on a glass of water.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you find it. Anyway, so the movie opens. We hear a plane as the title screens are flipping through. We open on the plane, and there's a guy in the bathroom who's completely shirtless. He's washing his face, and I wouldn't say he looks down, but I mean, he's just kind of there. He puts on his shirt. As he lifts his phone, he switches into like this online character that he's got going on. He's talking about how everything that he's done over the past 10 years and the history of his channel, how his family started filming him at a young age, and he's just kind of grown into it, and that's what he's doing now. And that's how he's making his money. I didn't really write down exactly like all the things that he did, but I mean, he travels the world, he does pranks, he does challenges, you know, typical sort of influencer type stuff. So he's also excited about being able to do this without having to get a real job. Or I shouldn't say a real job, because I mean, there is a lot of stuff that goes into it. You know, it's not just film and go. So, but he's been excited that he's been able to do this his whole life, making a living doing it, going to all the places. He lets the channel's name out. It's called ERL, which is his channel. I didn't catch what the letters stood for.
It took me a minute to find it, to figure it out, because right at the beginning, when he's doing his whole spiel, when he first gets on the phone and he's doing his whole thing, he says it, and is it Escape Real Life?
It's probably that sounds like it fits.
I think that's what it was.
Escape or Extreme Real Life. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So he's talking to his chat. He mentioned how his chat at one point had him be buried alive in a coffin. He talks about the 1 million followers that voted for him to go to Moscow, which is where they're headed right now. He talks about the stewardesses that are standing behind him, and you know, they don't really look impressed with what he's doing. Right. They're just kind of, you know, just like a lot of people when they're kind of forced into people's streams, like they're just not impressed at all. He goes into first class where he has his ticketed seat. So I don't know why he was back in coach, but he was. We get introduced to Dash, Samantha, who they state didn't make the X Games because of her getting injured. She looks disappointed about it, but you know, she's moving on. Aaron, who has never been out of the States. As the movie progresses, it kind of feels like Aaron and the main character are boyfriend-girlfriend. He ends up asking Dash where they're going because he just knows that they're going to Moscow, but he doesn't know what they're doing. And so Dash isn't really saying anything. A guy jumps out from behind a bathroom door or something, and we find out that it's Thomas, the main character's best friend, which his name is Cole, and he's been sitting in coach out of his sight, so he couldn't see him. Then after they, you know, have their little hurrah and everything, we see Cole uploading his videos to the internet, and he's a lot calmer at this point. Like, he's got that persona. The streaming persona is at bay right now, so he's back to the calm, humdrum sort of person.
Yeah, those two personas are a complete 180 from each other. Yeah.
Then again asks what they're going to do in Moscow, and Dash says he's got a friend named Alexei who wants to take them everywhere because he's rich. He wants to go to like clubs and restaurants, and Cole's like, where else are we going? And Dash says, an escape room in Moscow. Cole's not really impressed by this, and that he's going to Moscow just for an escape room. He's not that keen on that whole idea. He's just saying that the room is like nothing he's ever been done before, and it's built specifically for them. So it's a tailored experience. Dash pulls out a phone and asks Cole to repeat his initial reaction. Then Cole takes the phone and explains to the audience what an escape room is. At this point, I think most people know, unless you're like 10,
right.
and you don't watch TV.
Right. And even my 10-year-old knew what escape room was because we used to do them all the time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thomas reiterates, what makes it special is Moscow has different rules. Doesn't really get too much further into that, but he just says they have different rules. Dash asks Cole, hey, don't be a pussy. Cole's like, yeah, I'm not. Leave me alone. Let me be a pussy. So Dash says that Alexei's father, he thinks he's a politician, and that Alexei tosses money around like it's nothing. Like he's an idiot. Dash ends up asking Cole to delete that part because Cole was live streaming, and he's like, hey, this is live, so that's already been out. And that's when Cole ends the live stream. Thomas asks Cole what's going on with him and Aaron. That's, you can see Cole has some admiration for her and says that she's great. She's the first girl that sees him as him. So again, kind of highlighting the difference between the character and who Cole really is.
Right.
They hit a little bit of turbulence, and Thomas runs to his seat, and Aaron puts on her belt, and then the plane ends up landing. I don't know what the point of the turbulence was, but hey, movie. Yeah. Right. So now they're in the airport, standing around the bag carousel, saying that, Dash wants to see what's on the other side. So he's like on the belt going around, and everybody's saying, hey, it's not a good idea. Don't do that. And he ends up going into the back anyway. And Cole's looking for him and calling his name. Dash's phone comes out, and Dash isn't with it, which is odd because they're all attached to their phones.
Right.
Then we see two police officers and Dash coming out from the back. The police officers have him by both arms, dragging him out. Cole's like, what's going on? The police say something in Russian. There's no subtitles to let you know what they said. They just speak in Russian. So a well-dressed man comes up and he starts speaking with the police, and he shows them some papers that he has, and the police apologize profusely, let Dash go, and as they're walking away, one of them like hits the other one, like, what the hell are you doing? Even though they didn't know. We find out that it's Alexei, and he's looking very, very serious when he ends up asking Dash, so I throw money around like I'm an idiot?
Yeah.
Dash is looking very uncomfortable as Alexei stares at him for a bit. And Alexei starts laughing. He's like, I'm fucking with you. He's like, yeah, that's what I do, referencing the fact that he throws money around like an idiot. He's like, yeah, that's what I do. Then Dash introduces Cole to Alexei. They make some small talk, and they get into the vehicles that they're going to be using. Alexei kisses an attractive young lady named Victoria before they get into their car, and he introduces his security and driver, stating that they go wherever he goes. There's some driving through the city scenes, like overhead, and they end up at Alexei's apartment. And everybody's completely impressed with the apartment, and they toast being in Russia. So then they're back in the vehicles, and they pull up into a really sketchy sort of driveway. Like, you wouldn't really expect a man like Alexei to be pulling up into a driveway the way this one looks. They're in a Russian club. Cole is like all excited, and he's like, oh, there's so much content here. That seems to be like all up in his mind.
I feel like probably for most people that do that, they're always just looking for where the content is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cole is filming everybody around. They're having a good time. Aaron gets close to him and starts to dance with him. Now we're sitting in the VIP room, and they're all talking about partying and whatnot. Cole is filming more live content, talking about what they have planned as far as the escape room. Alexei tells him that the room is tailored to the player, like we've already been discussed. Two girls come over to talk to Cole. Aaron is at the bar, and two guys are harassing her and Sam. Cole comes over to stop them, and then Alexei tells him he doesn't know who they are. Cole's like, I don't care. Alexei pulls out a knife. One of the guys pulls out a gun. Alexei drops the knife, and then Alexei's driver and security team intervene. The two guys say that the group is fucked, and as they are being pulled away, so they're being dragged out of the club. Aaron and Sam, appear to be okay, and they all decide to leave at that point. The driver apologizes that he wasn't there sooner, and Cole is shaken and asks who they were. Vitaly, the driver, says they are the bad types, and that's all we get out of that, so they're the bad types. Cole is concerned about having the interaction on camera, and Thomas and Aaron look at him weird. And what I mean about having a concern on the camera is he was wondering if he had it recorded, because that would be great content. Thomas and Aaron are like, what the fuck, man?
He's like, basically, like his girlfriend just got accosted by these two dudes, and he's wondering if he had it on film.
Right.
And the whole confrontation that unfolded afterwards.
So he ends up pivoting and says, I'm glad everybody's okay. He kind of gets back into the I'm a human being thing. Now they're going into what looks like a hotel room. Cole and Aaron are in bed talking. Cole's laying there and looking at his phone. He goes outside as Aaron's voice is narrating her feelings about what happened and how he seemed more worried about his fans seeing what happened over everybody's safety. He's scrolling through his social media. She says that she wants the real Cole and that she thought he knew the difference between himself and the character. Next day, Cole and Aaron are sitting in chairs. Aaron is looking at him smiling, and he's looking back at her.
She got over that really quick. I did notice that.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, because next morning, it was like nothing happened.
Right. And that's the theme we find in movies is that, something happens and everybody's over it. Yeah. Someone dies. Oh, we're good. Yeah. It's so sad. Let's remember them. Hey, let's go party.
Right.
Cole says Alexi is getting them a car. Aaron asks if she and Cole could be together for the day. Dash and Sam talk about their amenities and the hotel, like the hot tubs and all the stuff that they have there, and they're not going to suffer anytime soon being there. Then mention Thomas is still asleep. Aaron and Cole go downstairs to the car that was sent over for them. And Aaron is pointing out to different sites to Cole. And at this point, Aaron wants to get out to walk around. The driver says, because at this point, we don't really know the driver because this isn't Vitaly. It's a different guy altogether. He says that he was told that he needed to be with them at all times. And Cole's like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Just drop us off and, we'll meet back here later on tonight. The driver stops and the doors are still locked. Cole's trying to get out and it's like, hey, what the hell? And the driver says, just let me take you where I was told to take you. Right. Cole pleads that Aaron wants to get out to walk, because it's all about Aaron now. First was his chat. Now it's Aaron. The driver relents and lets them out. Cole is talking about exchanging money, but the driver ends up $100 worth of rubles. I think that's what a Russian currency is. And then the driver says, meet me here at 8:00. And there was also something wrapped in the money that he gave him. It was like a red piece of paper that he also had. And so Aaron and Cole, they're walking around the city, enjoying the sights. They end up at a bar. They spend time talking. She gives him crap about not having his live or followers knowing where he is, because this time he didn't tell them.
It's like, which way do you want it, lady?
Right, exactly. Which way? Tell me which way. That's one thing I don't miss about being married. Yeah. Cole gets the bill, and he's kind of taken aback by how much it is. It doesn't say how much it is, but, by his reaction. It says
how much it is, but he doesn't know how to equate it to American dollars, just because it looks like it was like 400 and something. So he's like, holy shit.
Oh, okay.
Because to us, it's like 400 and something would be in dollars. And if you're just sitting there eating a brunch and some drinks and you're paying 400 some dollars, it seems like a lot. It was whatever the equivalent of that is in rubles or whatever it is. So, he was just taken back by the high number, but he didn't, of course, realize the exchange.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that is.
The waiter comes back and he tells them that Alexi took care of the bill and that there's a car waiting for them outside. The waiter picks up the piece of paper and says to Cole that this was in his money. Cole's like, hey, how did Alexi know where I was? He's like, asks Aaron, is that cool or is it creepy? Aaron tells Cole if the night gets too intense, referring to the escape room. Cole says it's an escape room and acts like it's no big deal.
Right.
Cole then pulls out his phone for a live stream, and Aaron is not happy with that. Again, she was just saying, I'm surprised you don't have the people knowing where you are, and now he has people knowing where he is, and now she's not happy again.
All right. Women.
You know how they are.
I do.
He's telling his chat Russia isn't that bad. And he's like, without the gangsters and crime, it's really not that bad at all. Everybody in the bar stops and looks at him, and Cole pauses, and Aaron pushes him out the door because people didn't like what he had to say about that.
Yeah.
They get dropped off at the hotel, and Cole goes to tip the driver, but he's like, it's good, it's okay, don't worry about it. Alexei greets them, asking if he's ready for the escape room, and Cole's like, oh, hell yeah. Alexei is speaking how excited he is for Cole and how he wishes he could do it again, but can't. Victoria's in the car they were walking towards, and she states that after doing it, it's all Alexei spoke about. So we figure out at that point that you can only do the escape room once, and they won't let you do it again because you pretty much know how it's all going to go. Alexei shushes her, so she doesn't say anything more. They approach what looks like to be a warehouse. Aaron kisses Cole before getting out of the car. Ooh. The entire gang is outside the building. Alexei states, as real as everything might seem, they're safe. So he's trying to give a precursor to what's going to be happening.
It's going to seem dangerous, but it's, it's just an escape room.
Right.
It's not real.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
And then Cole's all excited. Let's do it. Alexei opens the doors and the gang walks in. Cole is filming for his live, stating that he's doing the escape room and that the cameras in the building are tied to his live, so the action will be recorded that way because he's not allowed to bring his phone through. Alexei and Victoria leave at this point, so they're all left alone. And there's a control room where Cole's phone ends up for the live stream, so that's where he has to leave it. The gang seems a little nervous. Alexei comes in with 2 men in gas masks, and Alexei states that they're in a Bolshevik prison. The men only speak Russian, so Alexei will be speaking on their behalf. He states the prison is for enemies of the state where people were executed. One tried to leave but was caught and tortured to death. Alexei tells them they have to get out before the time runs out or they will be executed. The 2 gas mask men lead them into separate rooms with bags on their heads. Cole gets to his room and takes the mask off. He looks around the room, not seeing what's on the floor next to him at first, which is a dead body. He's looking the other direction from it, so it's not like he's looking over it. He's looking away from it. When he finally sees the body, he jumps, and the body has an X on the stomach. Cole thinks the whole thing is crazy and hears a buzz, and it's a timer starting. He has an hour to figure this out. There are clothes and shoes in a pile, and he starts to go through all of them. He tries to open the bar door. He doesn't find anything in there. He tries to open the bar door. It's stuck. Well, not stuck. It's locked.
Locked, yeah.
He hears Thomas yelling down the hallway saying that he's tied to a machine. His live chat is going strong at this point. Cole picks up a scalpel that he found, thinking he has to cut the guy on the table to pull out whatever's in there. So what I failed to mention in the very beginning, this is like a combination of Hostel, Saw, escape room movies. So it's kind of like all like put together.
It did give me a very Hostel feeling. I don't know if it's because they were in a foreign country. Yeah, it does have a mix of all of those things, definitely.
Yeah. So he's about to start cutting and he's like, someone please stop me from doing this. But
because it looks like it's a real body. He's like kind of laughing and joking, like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is like a real body. I'm sure in his mind, he's thinking it's not a real body.
Right.
Because why would they have me cutting into a real body? So he's kind of jokingly like, oh, I guess I have to do this. Not like super jokingly, but he's not freaked out about it like you would think, because he knows in his brain, he's thinking, oh, this is just an escape room game. This isn't real stuff. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or he's just hoping that it's fake.
Right. Yeah.
and he's playing tricks on himself.
Right. I mean, it definitely looks real. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So he's cutting open the body, pulling out the guts and everything, and he pauses and he's talking to the body saying, hey, this is kind of weird for me too. First time for everything, I guess. He's cutting more organs out, finally cuts open the stomach, like the actual stomach. He finds the key to unlock the door. When he gets out, the door closes and locks behind him, so he can no longer use the key. And he walks down a hallway of cells, and it's a grimy hallway. It's kind of what you would expect from an old prison.
Yeah.
He sees Erin in a glass box with a key that she doesn't know what to do with. Then he sees a room with empty jugs, like the big water jugs.
Yeah, the big ones, yeah.
Yeah. And then as he's walking, he comes across Sam, who's also in a cell, strapped to a chair with something over her face. Like she can see and she can talk, but it's like a half mask of some sort, like that's covering her face.
Right.
Alexei starts talking on the speaker. He says Cole doesn't have much time left, and Alexei calls him a baby face. Not sure why that took place, but, hey, you're a baby face.
Yeah, because he did take quite a bit of time in his own little cell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then Alexei tells him that, you're going to have to solve the puzzles fast. Thomas yells him to come over. He's strapped to a stretching machine. We see that Dash is in the same cell with him, but he's just like strapped into an Iron Maiden. Dash asks about Cole's bloody hands, and he explains that he had to cut a key out of some dead guy. Because at that point, I'm fairly certain Cole's starting to like realize, hey, maybe that was real.
Right.
Because he's just like some dead guy instead of like a fake dead guy.
Yeah. Which I guess wouldn't be horrible if it was a cadaver, like somebody had died and they just happened to use it. I guess that wouldn't be too big a deal.
Right.
But it would still be weird.
Like when you donate your body to science, weird shit happens.
Yeah.
It's not just science. You get shipped off to weird shit.
Yeah, shows escape rooms in Russia.
Right. Yeah. So when Cole opened their door, both machines start to move. So Thomas is starting to get stretched, and the Iron Maiden's door is like slowly closing. Cole jokingly tells him not to move and to hang tight while he solves puzzles.
Right.
Good old dad jokes. I probably would have said something similar. He finds a room full of gears, like gears on the wall, gears on the floor. He finds in the cell that each one has a red diagram of each puzzle for each machine. Thomas wants his puzzle done first, and we're seeing at that point the spike for the Iron Maiden is getting closer to Dash's eye. Of course, Cole's like really trying hard to solve everything, and just at the nick of time, both puzzles are solved.
Right.
Spike is like a hairline fracture away from Dash's eye.
Yeah.
When everything is all said and done, the machine lets go. The door opens from the Iron Maiden. Dash comes out, and Thomas just wants to get out of there like right now, like he's done with it.
Yeah.
And Alexei reminds them that time is ticking.
He was like, God, that felt like that was really going to happen because it was pulling and pulling and pulling. And if you didn't stop it, my arm's been ripped off.
Right. So Alexei again, comes on, says time is ticking and that they only have a half an hour left and they still have 2 people to try to save.
And Cole, even when he was doing the puzzles for these, he seemed a little kind of lackadaisical about it. Like, yeah, I'm going to rush through it and try to get it done. But again, it's just an escape room. Like nothing's going to happen. He doesn't really realize yet that there's more to this. He's feeling like, oh, it's just a game, whatever. Right. Yeah.
Cole, Dash, and Thomas go to Sam, and they're looking at her in this contraption, and Dash is like, that's even kinky for you. Because it does kind of look like a BDSM sort of setup. So Cole and Thomas end up finding the puzzle for Sam's chair, and they have to move like a metal piece through a maze that shocks Sam with certain clicks that they make.
Yeah, it's like almost like every time it hit the edge, it would electrocute her. It was, you had to almost do it as gently as possible so it wouldn't hit the edges, but it was a big round maze and you had to keep, moving it back and forth. And every time they hit an edge, she'd get zapped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kind of like real life Operation.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Dash comes over and he sees what they're doing. And so he's purposely hitting the sides. And, she's like, hey, knock it off. This hurts. Cole and Thomas end up yelling at him to knock it off. They end up solving the puzzle to get Sam out, but not without many shocks to her.
Yeah. And it got more and more intense, I think, every time they did one. And I think this is when Cole was finally like, wait a minute. This seems real. Like, that's when he first started thinking, okay, this is not what I was expecting. This is kind of real.
Yeah. Sam's pissed, and rightfully so. Cole and Dash ask her if it was really that bad. She's like, I just want to leave. Poor girl was screaming her head off. We find out at this point that Dash doesn't really know Alexei well, that he's just a guy that he just found his blog and he liked the blog. Cole is pissed about this information. He's like, you barely know Alexei? He's like, this is some guy in Russia and now we're stuck in a prison? Like, seriously? Cole and Dash argue as Thomas goes to Erin and sees her cage filling with water. So he calls everybody over and they're trying to talk to her, but she can't hear them through the glass. Dash is yelling to the camera for help, saying, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't be doing this at this point. And Cole's like, it's not going to work. They're not listening to us. He sees the key in her hand and realizes he needs to do something with the jug puzzle to save her.
Uh-huh.
The puzzle is the 3-liter jug and 5-liter jug to make 4-liter. So they pour the liquid and check on Erin. The water's at her waist at this point. They figure out the puzzle and the door opens, like the cell door opens.
Right.
Now they're trying to figure out how to get her out of the cage. They find ladders behind the cage and find the door on the top is bolted shut and the valve wheel is rusted. Erin is freaking out, as one would be.
Right, because it's still filling with water.
Yes, and it's way above her head. Cole and Dash are telling them to stop the game. They're yelling to the camera, stop it, stop it. He tries to open the locked door again. At this point, Erin is completely submerged. Cole is freaking out, yelling to Alexi to let them out. He runs past a random gear that was in one of the rooms. He ends up seeing it, grabs it, and comes back. And he tries smashing the glass, but it doesn't work. It's smash-proof. So he goes up to the top, and he starts slamming the locks up top, breaking the locks off. He opens the door. Erin is floating on the top at this point. They pull her out and bring her to the hallway and yells her name and opens her eyes. Apparently, they do a new certain type of CPR.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I know a few of those. Yeah.
Yes. I just heard of a new method today, quite honestly. And so they're trying to get, CPR to work, and she spits out water after a couple coughs. And
I want to say that's an inside joke, a really inside joke.
Deep inside.
Deep in there.
She spits water out and coughs. They hear a buzz, and Dash asks if it's over. 1 hour timer is done. They got everybody out of the cells, and everybody's fine.
Ultimately, outside of the near-death experiences, I've been in a bunch of escape rooms. That was kind of a boring escape room. Just because you only had those few things to do, and that was it. There was no... Right. I don't know have you ever been in an escape room before?
No, but I know of them. I know how they work.
Yeah, you've got all these kind of different things you have to find and puzzles to figure out and all this stuff. There's tons of it. And this you only had the 4 things or whatever. So it ultimately was kind of boring, but whatever.
I mean, in fairness,
the death part.
In fairness, they only did have an hour.
Well, they're all an hour. When you do an escape room, when you do an escape room, it's an hour. I mean, I never almost died, but...
Then you weren't in the right escape rooms.
I guess not.
So now the timer's done. They're trying to find out where Alexi is. They again remember that there's a key in Erin's hand. Apparently, it goes to the door that's down the end of the hallway. They go to the end, they open it, and Alexi says, "What the fuck?" I don't know why Alexi would, So my notes are detailed, but not always fully detailed. They go into the room where Alexi was, but it's all smashed up with blood up on the walls. It just looks like there was a struggle. The door slams shut that they came through, and the room is now sealed shut.
Right, and it's a little room. I guess it was the control room.
Yes.
But it's just a little room. It looks like a metal walls or just whatever, cement walls maybe. I don't know. But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't like a nice, big, cushy room they were doing shit out of.
Right. Cole picks up a metal cup or trophy or something, and he starts smashing the deadbolt. And everybody's like, "Hey, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing?" It's like, he's trying to get out. What the hell do you think he's trying to do?
Yeah. Escape.
I mean, that is the point of this room.
Right.
It's in the title, Escape Room. He breaks the lock, and everybody's mad at him, saying that they're not going out the door because they're scared. They don't know what's going on.
Right, because there's a bunch of blood and shit. Yeah.
Right, but at the same time, I don't know what they're going to accomplish by staying in the room.
Dying. Okay.
True. I mean...
Starvation.
They could step out the door and die sooner, or they could stay there and die of starvation.
Yeah, slow, painful death. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Looking at each other funny like they're ham hocks.
Yeah. Everything starts to get stinky. People are urinating all over the place because there's nowhere else to go. There's all, whatever. But don't go outside. Don't go outside.
No, don't. So Cole's trying to reason with them, saying, they're in a strange country. They don't have their phones with them. They have no wallets, no IDs, and an old prison. And that is what got them to leave, because they kind of forgot what their situation was.
Right.
And so Cole came to the rescue and said, hey, we're fucked.
Yeah, snap out of it. Come on.
So they go outside the door and they see the driver, like Alexei's driver and security, laying by the door with blood on them.
Uh-huh.
Cole and Aaron stop as the camera turns, showing 4 gunmen. And the other is the guy from the bar,
right.
Who has a gun pointing at Victoria's head. The camera shots go between the gang and the other gang, so the gang of kids, and then the gang of murderers, as Victoria's crying and pleading in Russian. The bar guy says something in Russian with a smile on his face and shoots Victoria in the head. She falls over, and she's gone. Next, they're all thrown in a van with bags over their heads. The van driver is the same driver who gave Cole the rubles. Cole is put into a room strapped to a chair. The bag is taken off his head, and there's a man there with a black hockey mask and a table full of bloody surgical tools. Another man opens the door, and he says, "Hello, Cole." Cole is freaking out about how the guy knows his name, because this isn't a guy that he recognizes. Yeah. He walks over to Cole with a gun pointing at him. The man discusses his disgust with Americans and talking about how much blood comes out of someone's head. Just a fun fact.
Yeah.
Because it's always nice to be educated, even if you're about to be executed. It's always good to have some information. You're never too old, and it's never too late to learn.
Right. Knowledge is key.
Exactly. He puts the gun to Cole's head and yells, "Bang!" while he's laughing. Cole's freaked out, crying, stating that he wants to go home. The guy laughs.
Don't be a pussy, Cole.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ, man. Fucking man up. God. The guy laughs and says something in Russian, and now we see 2 monitors, what appears to be running a live chat, which is all in Russian at this point, and it looks a little dark webby.
Right, that's right. This part reminded me of Making Monsters.
Yes.
Which, by the way, is now our most viewed or listened to on YouTube.
Very nice.
It finally, something surpassed June 9th.
Yeah, because I noticed June 9th was in the lead for quite a while.
Oh, for a while, yeah. I was like, what?
So the man says something in Russian to the chat, and again, there's no subtitles to know what he said, but he says something in Russian to the chat. He ends up knocking Cole over in the chair, saying that, the people on the screen want to see people get pulled apart piece by piece. He says first they'll kill the girl and one of his friends every half hour. They chain Cole to another room and lock him in. I think there was a bed in there, and he's chained to the wall in that room and lock him in there. There's a single monitor in that room where Cole can watch the other friends on it.
Yeah.
He sees Aaron on the screen, and then the screen turns to, the snow. He's laying on a mattress-less bed and looks to see a wire. Cole is watching the guys in a room with Sam with the surgical items on the TV screen. Sam is not liking what she sees as far as the surgical tools.
Right, as you would.
Because, if you're strapped to a table or a chair and you see surgical tools, you might not be happy. Especially if it's not in a surgery room, you might take issue with that.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be your best day.
Right. The guy walks over to Sam and pulls out one of her teeth. He then slices her neck open as she gurgles her life out.
They didn't take a whole lot of time to torture her. I thought they were going to go, because, they like to watch them limb from limb. Because 2 things that I hate when it comes to this kind of stuff is teeth and fingernails. Pull your fingernails out and shit.
Yeah.
Ugh. But I thought they were going to do a little more.
Right.
But no, it was just straight to the cut in the throat.
Yeah. Well, she probably used her safe word.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, because she is into BDSM, so she probably used pineapple. Oh, okay.
All right, well, let's cut your throat then.
Right. Cole is in shock in the room, and he's crying. And the man looks at the camera on his end, and it goes back to snow. Cole is trying to break out of the room by smashing his cuffs, and he ends up succeeding. But they weren't very strong cuffs.
Right. Yeah, well, they're probably old, ancient prison cuffs, so maybe they were rusty and falling apart.
Yeah. So he sees someone outside of his cell, and he holds up the cuffs as a weapon, like brass knuckles or something. Yeah. And whoever it was, he ends up leaving the room. He realizes that he still has that red paper that was in his rubles. He creates a bed ladder and pulls the grate off of the wall that's near the air duct.
Right.
And he crawls through very loudly.
Oh my God. This was the one scene where I was like, I didn't have a whole lot of comments. Most of my comments came near the end of this movie, around here. At the beginning, I didn't really have a whole lot of comments. But I was like, dude, can you be quieter? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, he was like, thud, 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 his elbows and his legs. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you are not stealthy at all.
No, not even a little bit. I mean,
no.
That zipper from April Fool's Day was quieter. And that was like, it took up the whole scene.
And there was no death involved in that yet. Like,
right.
No one's going to kill you for zipping up your zipper. Like,
now, if you were in the closet and the murderer was standing outside the closet and you zipped up, then he's going to hear you.
Especially if you're in there with that sound guy. Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah, he was thudding along. It was driving me crazy.
So as he was thudding along, he hears someone speaking in Russian. Dash is also in this particular room because he has view of a room.
Yeah.
And I will start calling him the murderous guy, the one that we don't know who his name is, and he doesn't have a mask on. The murderous guy says that he has an audience and that the audience that he has is more selective than the ones that Cole and Dash and all them have.
Right.
Their tastes are a little bit more refined, I guess. We have the black mask guy that's in there. He starts strangling Dash. The murderous guy tells him to stop, and the man asks Dash if he has any preferences for death, so he's giving him a choice.
Right.
You know, I mean, we have rights, and we should have a right to choose. Dash is crying, and he can't really decide, and he ends up mocking Dash for the crying. He picks up a saw. He starts to cut Dash with it and cuts off his arm. Then he starts cutting his chest. You can't really see what he's doing because he's standing in front, probably because they didn't want to get like too far with blood and stuff.
Right, because we're basically seeing it from Cole's point of view through the grate because he's looking through the vent that's in that room. So, and the guy's standing between Cole and Dash.
So Cole ends up making a noise and the guy heard him. I don't know how he didn't hear him before, but Cole makes like a small noise and now the guy can hear him. And so the guy in the black mask goes after him. And I'm going to say one of the black mask guys because there's a few of them. Cole was moving through the duct, but the duct is getting tighter as he moves.
Yeah.
He does make it to the end, though. He gets out and he runs and hides while two of the black mask men are searching for him. Cole picks up a pipe or something on the floor and he throws it down the hallway to distract them.
Yeah, now this is the scene where I figured out what was going on.
Okay.
Because he was in a room. The room was divided by support beams and just junk. It was all in the middle of the room. And maybe like a furnace and stuff like that was in the middle of the room. When the two guys came in from the opposite end of the room where he was, they came in and at first they split. And one guy went to the left of that and the other guy went to the right of that. And Cole's all the way at the other end of the room. And it's a pretty big room.
Yeah.
And then you see where they're both on the other side. Both the guys are on the other side. So Cole goes on the side that the two guys aren't. And he's kind of like, he's going around while they're going around so that he can't be seen. And then they end up on the side that he was on, but he's now on the side they were on before. And then that's when he picks up the metal thing. And then I was like, oh, I'm not going to say what I know is going to happen, but I was like, oh, now if these guys were smart, they would have gone around both sides separately because he'd have nowhere to go if he were in that room. Right. But they decided to go together. So now he can go on the opposite side and not be seen and hide and walk around while they're walking around. I was like, okay, I know what's happening. Yeah. So that's when I figured this movie out. But so then he grabbed a metal bar or whatever and threw it all the way back down to that by the doorway. And they went down there. So go ahead.
Yeah. He throws the pipe down the hallway, so they go looking for it, and Cole runs down the hallway to a red door, which is locked. He remembers that he's got a red paper because like the door had like some symbols on it, which that paper had on it as well. The guy who gave him the paper, and once Cole gets out of that room, is outside. He's saying that, I'm so glad to see you, Cole. Cole's not happy to see him.
Right.
Because he's got many questions about what's going on and what his involvement was. The driver says, I've been trying to help you all along. Even though I'm part of this, I'm trying to help you. He tells Cole to leave, and Cole's worried about his friends. And the driver's like, there's no helping them, so you just should go. Cole ends up hiding because two men come outside. One punches the driver and takes him away. Cole gets into a car and everything is silent. Like, it's very quiet. He's struggling with the idea of escaping or save his friends.
Right.
He ends up getting a moment of badassery in his face. He tries to find a way back inside. He goes through the blue door to save his friends. He finds Thomas and says, I'll get you out of this. He carefully but loudly opens the door to get Thomas out. Thomas's glasses are broken and he's beaten up pretty bad. Cole asks if he can walk, and they end up leaving the cell that Thomas was in. They're trying to find their way out when two of the Russians that were following them are now in the same room as them. Cole tells Thomas to shush as the men bang pipes with other pipes, dragging one across metal. They're randomly hitting things as if that's going to bring them out,
But we're here. Here we are.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
No more noise, please.
One turns towards Cole and Thomas, but he doesn't see them, like they're hidden down below. He ends up leaving the room. Cole and Thomas leaves the room as well and closes the door, like they're in a different part of the room, and they close the door. Cole hugs Thomas. Thomas asks what's going on. Cole says people are watching them get tortured, just explaining the dark web aspect of things. Thomas asks about the rest, and Cole says, two of them are dead. Cole asks about Erin, and Thomas says that he hasn't seen her at all. Cole is going to try to get Thomas's cuffs off, but Thomas freaks out, making much noise, because, again, they're not very subtle with what they're doing. They calm, and the door opens and bangs. They see a grate in the floor, and they jump through. Two men get into the room, and they're speaking in Russian angrily. Cole and Thomas start running down the hallway to another grate that they go through to get back up onto the other floor. Cole goes to a door and hears someone coming. As they run down the hallway, one of the guys comes through and runs at them with a gun. Cole gets out of the way, but the man gets Thomas, and they both end up fall down like this large elevator shaft, and everything's silent. Cole can't hear anything again. Probably they're trying to give the idea of shock or whatever.
Right.
He's upset, sitting down, going through all the stages of grief. Anger, sadness, bargaining, it's all there. All the hits.
Grief's greatest hits. Brought to you by Time Life magazine. No one will love that reference. Okay.
Is it fucked that I'm going to school to be a clinician?
You play that little sound bite. You deal with any days.
He picks up the gun and finds that it's empty, but keeps it anyway. Cole goes back down the hallway and hears more voices. It's two of the black mask guys, the torturer guy, like the murderous guy, and the bar guy. The murderous guy and the bar guy have a small argument. We find Alexei is also in the room.
Duh.
The black mask guy brings in the hero driver, which is, he's sacrificing right now.
Right.
Alexei sees the red paper, and the driver's trying to plead with him. Alexei kills him. He's like, yeah, I'm not putting up with your shit. And so now they're all talking, and it seems like Alexei said, take care of the gun. We don't know that's what it was said, but the motions and the gestures, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, I did find that even though they were speaking in Russian and didn't have subtitles for it, I still felt like every time they spoke, I knew what they were talking about.
Right.
Because the way just context of what was going on, you can kind of figure out what they're saying. You kind of get the idea of what they're saying, I guess.
Right. All the bad guys end up leaving the room. Cole follows one of the black mask guys, and they go down a hallway that has a locked door, and he sees Erin being dragged out of her cell. He breaks the window and unlocks the door. The murderous guy cuts Erin's face.
The murderous guy is the guy I was talking about earlier when I said he wasn't wearing a mask.
Right.
Right. Yeah. He looks very Russian.
Yes, he does.
That was all I was going to say before. He looks very Russian to me.
Yes. So the murderous guy and Cole, they're in a standoff. He's telling the guy, let Erin go. I'll do anything. The guy's like, nah, we're good. Cole asks what this is, and it cuts to the live stream. There's bullets on the table to Cole's right, and he has the gun. And the guy's like egging him on, like, go ahead, shoot me, because he's like, you're not going to have enough time to get to the bullets to do what you need to do. Cole puts the gun up. They cut between him, Aaron, the murderous guy, and then back to Cole, who says, I love you, to Aaron. Their relationship blossomed really quick.
I thought he said that to the murderous guy.
Either way, it was still a little quick. I mean, they started this trip like the day before, him saying, yeah, she's kind of cool, to I love you. It's a little soon for that.
Right. Well, in the heat of death.
True.
What are you going to do?
So she reverse headbutts the murderous guy, and Cole goes for the bullets at that point. He shoots the guy in the shoulder, as he was only able to get one bullet, and the guy's wounded. He walks over to Aaron and shoots her in the head. So all that effort was for nothing. Right. It goes between the chat and Cole, who is upset. Like, it's kind of bouncing between the two.
Right.
The black mask guys throw him out of the room, and he's like in this other small room, and Cole blocks the door so they couldn't come in and try to escape. But before he does, he sits in the corner and he's completely freaked out, which one would be if they're in a room that they can't get out of, and the only way out, there's two murderous guys on the other side. Yeah. I could see how that would be tough. And all of a sudden, there's a light that's coming through the grate in the wall. He takes the empty gun with him, and he pops it out and gets through. And he falls and hits a concrete floor as he falls. He sees Alexei filming on his phone saying, hey, how was that? Yeah. Cole gets up and runs towards Alexei. Alexei's like, wait. But Cole ain't having it. He's, nope. We're done. He knocks Alexei down and saying, I'm going to kill you. So Alexei's on the ground, and Cole's going all Ralphie from A Christmas Story on him. Right. But this time his mother's not there to save him. Right. So he's beating Alexei's face like a bloody pulp. Oh, yeah. And they're showing it, off and on. And, Alexei's dead at this point. Right. And he sits down and he sees a screen of his channel. The lights come up. There's several tables, like it's a banquet of some sort. Everybody who was killed or were killers come out looking in shock. Yeah. It was all a ruse. April Fools! Ha, we got you! And Victoria comes running through the crowd, and she's upset, because her boyfriend's dead. Yeah, screaming all upset, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she'll get over it in an hour. Right. The video playing shows the progression of the setup. Yeah. There was a big screen, and they were showing how everything was set up and put in place. And Aaron runs to the front of the crowd, looks at Cole, and then looks at Alexei's body and runs back to Thomas, hiding her face. Right. There's long shots of the crowd looking on in horror. Mm-hmm. There's even a quick shot of Alexei's unrecognizable head. Right. Cole looks over at Alexei in disbelief, like, did I do that? Right. The film is still playing, showing how everybody survived their quote-unquote deaths. For example, Aaron had a breathing tank that was hidden up top of the tank, so she was totally fine. Right. Cole picks up his phone because he hears it dinging. His chat is mixed in disbelief, questioning what happened, and supporting the murder, because that's how the internet is. You have some people like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Other people, oh, it's fake. And other guys, oh, good job. Yeah. But that's just the nature. Right. Cole lifts the phone to show the chat the crowd of people who are not dead. Cole drops the phone, drops to the floor, and there's more video of Dash laughing after his quote-unquote dismemberment. Right. Thomas falling on a mattress with the black mask guy going through the elevator shaft, so they landed safe. Sam was pretending to be shocked, through her stuff, and Cole is not looking like he's enjoying himself anymore. No. And he has blood on his face, and he's just sitting in shock. Aaron looks at him again, very upset. I think they might break up after this. It's possible. Yeah. I don't think she accepts his I love you anymore. Yeah. Cole is breathing heavy, and the scene cuts out. So the next couple scenes are between the beginning of the credits. We see Aaron on a couch talking on the phone. Dash comes into frame. A scene of Cole in a car getting out, and Dash letting Thomas know that Cole has no idea that Thomas is going to see him because he's talking to him on the phone. Right. And they haven't seen each other in a very long time. Now we see Dash, Aaron, both picking up Thomas and speaking to Alexei at the same time. Next is Thomas, Dash, and Sam going over blueprints of the prison. Mm-hmm. A quick shot of the gang, except Cole, in makeup chairs, for their,
Right.
beat 'em up look. And there was more planning, but Cole's friends are talking about how he says that he never gets scared. Alexei is shown paying all the actors that were going through the whole thing.
Mhm.
And then the last scene is the gang telling Cole good luck, and it's extreme even for him. And now the credits officially roll.
Right. Yeah, this was when I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like April Fool's Day," only I wonder if someone's actually gonna die. It's gonna be a joke or a trick or whatever. But then something bad actually happens. I wasn't sure which way it
Yeah.
was gonna go, though.
So I started to figure it out because this is the second time I've watched it.
Mhm.
The first time when I sat down with it, I pretty much figured it out when Cole was in the air duct watching Dash getting cut up.
Uh-huh.
And it's just because of the camera angle. Granted, they were trying to give like Cole's perspective,
Right.
but the guy was like completely in front of Dash when he was cutting him. And then like I started noticing like every subsequent scene after that you see in that type of a scenario, he's blocking the person somehow, like he was blocking Sam for a bit.
Right, that's true.
So that's kind of like where I ended up figuring it out.
Yeah.
But also there was a period of time in the 90s that I would always like sit there and try to figure out the horror movie like within 10 minutes, and I
Right.
was usually right.
Right, yeah.
And I lost out on a lot of decent movies because
Yeah.
of it, because I wouldn't suspend reality.
Right, you wouldn't just watch it to
Right.
be entertained. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Mhm.
That's when I figured that out. I didn't necessarily figure out that someone was gonna die. I
Yeah,
figured someone was gonna get hurt, but I didn't think that someone would quote unquote actually die in the movie.
well, I didn't know. I knew it was going the way of April Fools and the fact that it was all just a setup.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if someone would die, but I felt because of the way the movie was in those types of movies, someone was probably going to die. Like, it was gonna end up being tragic and revealed that it was all just a, fake, and then it was just be tragic. I assumed that somebody was gonna die, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
I just knew that it was a setup, that it wasn't real.
Yeah. And I like how elaborate that they tried to make it. I mean, granted, the movie can only do so much, but how they tried to make it as elaborate as they could, like all these different people that
Oh,
was like
yeah.
introduced to them, like they were all part of it somehow, some way.
Yeah, like, even
You
the
know,
guys that they got in the fight with and all that, plus the driver and
bartender,
all
like
that stuff, yeah.
everybody was just like somewhat like involved, and
Right.
it you could definitely see how someone's reality would be blurred as a result of that.
Right. Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't hate the movie. To me, it was a regular, just again, it was a movie that I was like, when I was watching, I was like, gee, I don't have anything to say about the movie because there wasn't like a lot of our movies, there's like this stupid shit or whatever that's like weird or fucked up in some way, like something's messed up in the movie, or,
Yeah.
it's an old movie and it's just funny because it's just like silly, or they have horrible horror movie trope, all that stuff. So we often have a lot of things to say. And basically, what I say for my comments or what I yell at the TV when I'm watching it. So, and this one, I didn't have a whole lot until it got to the point where he was in the air ducts. I didn't have anything to say about anything going on because it seemed fine. Like,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
normal.
pretty cut and dry. Like there wasn't really
Right.
a lot of
So,
funny stuff.
yeah, or nothing, no fuck ups, no stupid
Right.
shit that was comment worthy in a way. Until he was going to the ducks so loudly, and I was like, "Dude, shut up. What are you doing?" All in all, I mean, it was an enjoyable movie in terms of it was one of your I kinda like, one of my favorite genres of movies is disaster movies.
Okay.
Like, I loved just watch The Towering Inferno, or that's an old, old movie. But basically, this whole high rise catches on fire. There's all these people in it. They're all trying to escape. Very much like Poseidon Adventure. You ever seen
Yep.
that?
Yep.
There's the original, and then they remade it some time later.
Yep.
I just love those kinds of movies. Any kind of disaster movie, like whether it's weather, just whatever like that. Although this isn't a disaster movie, it kind of had the same feel because they were trying to escape, whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So I just it's very much like a slasher movie where you're not really watching it because you're gonna, it's complex or you're trying to figure whatever out. Oh, there is some trying to figure some things out. It isn't like a psychological thriller where there's all this stuff going on that you're trying to figure out. So it's one of those where you can just kind of sit back and enjoy it for the most part, just for what it is.
Yeah.
It's not something where you have to overthink anything. So, and it's a movie like, again, if I'm flipping through channels, or I keep saying that, but I don't really flip through channels anymore.
Yeah, does anybody? Because I stream, so I'm just selecting whatever's on.
Right.
It's not really flipping through channels. It's just like, oh, that looks good.
But if we lived in a time where you could flip through channels and it happened to be on, then I would be like, oh yeah, and I'd watch it. And I do like the whole it ended up being fake, but then somebody really fucked up. Yeah. And I was, and the funny thing is at the end when Alexei was like, how did you like that? All those people back there, when they saw how pissed off Cole was and he was going towards him, and no one stepped in to stop it, or no one before it got out of hand.
Yeah, no.
Why didn't you? You're all standing there. I would say I'd probably give it like a 5.5 cents. I mean, it wasn't like an extraordinary movie, but it wasn't horrible. It was a good average, run of the mill, that kind of adventurous horror movie. There's like stuff going on. Like, I don't know if adventurous is the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I give it 7 cents, to be honest.
Wow.
One, because as you said, watching it, it was kind of hard to pick out something that was funny or something silly about it.
Right.
Because for me, if that's the case, then it was fairly well crafted.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like the most amazing movie in the world.
Right.
But I did like how they smashed a lot of different ideas together and they all seemed to work. You could tell that that's what their influences were. Right. But they worked. It wasn't like other movies that we've reviewed where it's like, they're throwing everything against the wall and trying to make it stick, and it's unnaturally sticking. This all felt like it could easily mesh together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I give it 7 cents. Because it was fairly well crafted, and I like the influences. Like every movie that they influenced, I love. Right. And so it was kind of cool to see everything put together and fairly well done. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad movie. It's just, to me, it was just a normal average movie. I do like the idea though, and this is not the idea of the movie per se, as it is the idea of the escape room, but technically they weren't out of the escape room when they thought they were out of the escape room.
Right.
The rest of it was also the escape room. All that other shit that went on where they were getting quote unquote killed or whatever. Yeah. That was also, which they didn't realize, Cole didn't realize was part of the escape room. I didn't like that. If they made escape rooms like that, that would be wicked cool. Where you think you're finished the escape room, but you're not. That'd be really cool. But, all right. Anything else?
We can put a sock on it.
All right. Got my little sock here. I keep having to adjust it because it keeps wanting to come off. All right, so that's No Escape, proof that if your entire personality is content creation, eventually the algorithm's gonna get you killed. Next month, we're kicking off with our new theme, Home is Where the Horror Is. It's all about home invasion horror, when the scariest thing isn't a ghost or a monster, but someone walking through your front door who definitely wasn't invited. From break-ins to bad neighbors to nightmare vacations, no home is off limits. And since July's got a bonus Tuesday, we're giving you a sneak peek with a short film called Home Invasion. Of course. Available now on YouTube through Alter. It's only 15 minutes, but let's just say not everyone gets out the front door. We'll see you then. Until next time, be scared, be prepared, and don't get caught in the dark.